Hello, and welcome to the second week of the A Question of Reality Paint Along. In this installment, I'll be joined by Rachel Rae and Mr. Rae of Rachel Rae Craft, as well as the famous Theory Tuesday series. So we can dive a little bit deeper into the artwork A Question of Reality by Christopher Lavelle. We'll be discussing some of the general themes of the artwork, diving into a little bit more about our theories about the artwork, and just generally having a good time. I hope you enjoy, and let's begin. Awesome. Cool. Well, I know we've been chatting for a little bit, but thank you both so much for setting aside some time. I know it's difficult with time changes and everything to make this type of thing happen, so I appreciate you being flexible there. That's
Thank
awesome.
you for inviting us.
Yeah, and for anyone watching that's not familiar, we have Rachel Rae and Mr. Rae here for a little bit of a, I guess, kind of Theory Tuesday crossover. You know, essentially, I just wanted to invite you both on to talk a little bit about the image or the artwork, A Question of Reality by Christopher Lavelle, and some of the theming within, because I've been such a fan of Theory Tuesday for a long time. It's one of the reasons why I watched YouTube diamond painting content when I first started, because it was different and super, super interesting. And you guys are just so fun to listen to, kind of gab. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess let's just dive in. Most people will. I'll be doing a clip before this, just talking a little bit about some of the imagery, and then we'll transition into our conversation here. But I know you guys have had a little bit of time to look at the image.
Yeah.
What do you think, and what jumps out to you?
It's a lot. It's like it feels like it's several images in one. But the main thing for me is just like maybe past and present. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of what I'm feeling there. Like old times and our technological overlords kind of, idealistic future. Well, not idealistic,
Yeah,
but you know what I mean.
it's like you're moving from biological reality, and into the stars. Like the
Mm-hmm.
stars are our destination or something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Pillars of Creation. Is that the name of that nebula? The famous image
Yeah.
in
Yep.
the top right? Yeah, yeah. Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
There's a
I guess
lot.
that's I mean that seems to be what it's about, and everything is laid out on that chessboard. Like I mean it's a really well laid out image, but it'll take some breaking down. Like
Yeah. There's
Makes me
so
feel a lot of things.
yeah, there's
yeah,
so much going on there. It's hard to even focus on one particular piece of it.
yeah,
But yeah, it's just it's almost like kind of like conscious just of the theme of reality just kind of splattered out onto the canvas. Like anything and everything's there, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
it's one of the things that jumps out to me is like how we have this kind of concrete, like you said, biological understanding of what is.
Mm-hmm.
And then we, like in our own lifetimes, are seeing how we can have reality in a almost a different dimension through technology.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
But that is just as valid of a reality as a biological, like,
Right.
understanding of the world,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is, I mean,
It's our brain activity that creates the world, really. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like even like there's the mushrooms in the bottom left as a kind of like psilocybin type, that's a biological hallucinogen. And then you go up to like the Hoffman square, where that's like ergot and then there's almost like that blue red pill as well over and halfway up
Hmm.
on the left.
Yeah,
Like that's
Matrix.
another like now you take in reality and it's your understanding of reality
Right.
that you're processing to. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot in there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I know we were talking before we started recording that this is actually an album cover that Christopher Lavelle did for an electronic artist. And
Mm.
Rachel, you had mentioned that that kind of changes your perspective on the image
Definitely.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me that this image is paired with an electronic album.
Hmm.
Not just because of like the references to, illicit, like mind altering kind of things, but
Yeah.
also just because of the feeling that you get when listening to things like trance or
Hmm.
electronic music in general, and like how it can lift your spirits. I don't know
Hmm.
about you, but like I do listen to a lot of trance, and there's something about like the beats per minute and stuff that kind of takes you out of whatever anxious kind of
Yeah.
feeling you have and just makes everything all right. And
Yeah.
I feel like it makes sense that this would be something that a band would be looking for.
Yeah.
Come out of your shell, like leave your maybe this broken down jungle of your current living situation, and like you can idealize your perfect future by
Yeah.
listening to our music, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's like all the beats were made percussively. Like maybe percussion was the first type of music other than vocal, and then it moves
Mm.
into like computers are making the beats now,
Oh
or we're using those to make
Mm-hmm.
beats. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it seems that from the image because you would usually start reading images from like the bottom left, and it seems like you would go along the bottom and then up along that thing the stairway
Hmm.
to the pyramids because
Mm.
that's the only real there's no passage along the board that way, you know.
Yeah.
On the other side,
On the other
yeah.
Yeah.
side. Yeah.
So what's the
Unless you go through the ocean down there.
I'm wondering about the character with a red flag in the kind of bottom right hand corner. It looks like almost like maybe it's the spacesuits from 2001 or something like that or
I think so. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be calling specific to that movie or just a reference of like the moon landing and like the thoughts around that and what was the reality around that. I'm not sure what he's trying to pull from that.
When I
yeah.
saw that, I saw the astronaut with the red flag, and I was thinking like, don't go this way.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what
because
I
of the
got.
red flag. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
But
thought it
what's
was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
yeah? Do you have any insight into what that who that character is or?
I don't know. No, I haven't researched that particular imagery just yet. But yeah, I've
Yeah.
been very curious about it because I was like, what are we trying to say here with that?
What
Mm.
are they trying to say? Maybe
Yeah.
it's it's almost like the character that you know you're on base reality now. You're in the physical ground. In the foreground. You can
Hmm.
see there's rocks and everything, and beyond that is the ocean. And maybe it's like once you pass this point, there's no going back. Like the
Yeah.
knowledge you gain will change you. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
irrevocably or something.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really weird. Yeah, there's some other things there too. Like we can see the book kind of has like drips coming down from it, like into the
yeah.
water almost. And I was trying to figure that out too. There's so much.
Yeah, because the book looks like it's burning. The pages are burning on the
Oh, they
Yeah.
are
inside.
burning on the
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is that like an aura of like knowledge and understanding coming from the book? I couldn't figure
Yeah.
that out.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
fire of knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
It's,
interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, Rachel, I agree with what you said in regards to the music. I was watching a couple interviews from one of the DJs that's part of this band or this group Neptune Project, and they do a
Mm.
lot of like destination specific sets. So they'll be like
Nice.
on a ship somewhere or a boat off of Australia, and it's just a small group of people, and they do this long, like 2 3 hour set. And he talks a lot about creating almost like an a separate reality or another plane of being for these people to go and listen to the music and just completely separate themselves and
Totally.
try to think freely, which is pretty common for like trance music and stuff. But to hear him talk a lot about wanting to pull people out of their current frustrations or stresses or whatever and really create a whole different space for them to think more freely and exist on like a different plane within his music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you really hit the nail
Yeah,
on the head with
definitely.
that for
I
sure.
like immediately I thought of like Enigma because that's one
Yeah.
of the albums that just like puts me in a whole other
Yeah.
place. You know, it doesn't matter if something bad is happening to me, I'll put on Enigma.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where are the band from, or do you
From the
know?
UK.
From the UK.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Hmm.
we'll have to look them up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you
It's
said they're
pretty
called Neptune
Neptune
Project.
project.
Neptune
Yeah.
Project. Yeah.
Uh huh.
Cool.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So awesome. Well, I'm glad that we got a chance just to kind of, pick apart the image as a whole a little bit. I also I'm really drawn to how there's that transition from like more maybe primitive thinking to more like uh, a technological focus, with the like kind of humanoid robot mixed with the ape there at the top. I think that's probably the coolest part for me.
Definitely.
Yeah, and even Stonehenge, and then it's the pyramids, and then it's Chechen. Is that like Chichen Itza or
I
something
think
like
so.
that?
Yeah,
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 yeah.
it's
It's
really
very
cool.
big. Is that Petra? I don't know.
I think
Yeah, that.
I was wondering that as well.
You see the
Beside the
big wall
pyramids, I
behind
think it
it?
might be Petra. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you might be
But
right.
yeah, in either case, definitely like you've got the ape and then you've got the robot, and it's like
Oh,
biological thinking and AI, maybe?
you know
Yeah.
what? That stack of squares beside the pyramid that's kind of setting off against the checkerboard.
Mm-hmm.
I
Hmm.
think that might be the Hanging Gardens.
Oh.
Because
Oh.
yeah, because they were
Oh.
Basically a terrace garden, and
Hmm.
you would pump by way of a water screw. They would
Yeah.
pump the water up to the top, and it would flow
Push it
down through the
down.
garden. And he had a garden in the desert then, you know.
Yeah.
So I
That,
think that might actually be the Hanging Gardens there.
yeah.
Like, yeah,
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
It's really cool. Um,
yeah.
Well, yeah, I wanted to turn our focus to one particular area because from listening to a lot of Theory Tuesday, I know this topic comes up rather frequently. So it's like, well, maybe they'll have some more
Season
specific,
two.
yeah,
Season
more,
two's coming.
more
Season three is coming,
Season three
yeah,
is coming.
hopefully.
some more specific thoughts or specific theories around this particular piece, and that's kind of on kind of the middle right. The Our UFOs or flying objects there on that side.
Yeah.
I see that, yeah, and it's the old UFOs made the pyramids, kind of, or
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is what's specifically being referenced there, or it's just the placement is. It's two separate topics, but they've been placed in just the right way that you could draw those conclusions. I couldn't.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's
without a doubt, yeah.
intentional, but I don't know if that's the specific thing we're trying to say there.
Right.
It just so happens, it's convenient that they're very close.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's definitely. I guess it's because the pyramids are they're so visual, you know.
So
Hmm.
awe-inspiring.
Yeah, and they're one of the main things. Is it like they're one of the? I mean, they're definitely probably the most prevalent archaeological. You know, I mean, everybody knows what the pyramids are, but I mean, beyond aliens built them and all that. I mean, there's an awful lot of woo around the shape of the pyramid itself, and it amplifies energy in the fourth dimension and all this kind of thing. You
Hmm.
know, the placement of them is supposed to relate to the stars on Orion's belt, as they were 4,500 years ago,
Oh,
and all that
okay.
sort of thing.
There's a lot of theories.
there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff, but like at the end of the day, you know, like Kifu built these to impress people. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just had so much. Like, people built these things.
Yeah.
People built all of these things. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
like
that's.
I think that part of it is that like, as future people, the people
Hmm.
who didn't build these things, because it's so hard to find the evidence of it. Even
Mm-hmm.
though I do want to point out that there is evidence. There's red scrolls available to read if you would like to.
Yeah.
But these awe-inspiring buildings that look like they couldn't possibly have been, built by humans. It's an easy thing for us who are so like far away from it to be like, oh well, interplanetary help, like,
Mm-hmm.
and it I think that those theories for some people, like, just coming from the Theory Tuesday like background, it gives them a sense of like, I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they're connected
Yeah,
to something, or they know a secret, so it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
But in reality, again, reality.
yeah, and the more powerful drive on that is that other people don't know.
Right.
Like the other people don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
they do. But yeah, I mean, I suppose the most popular or the most prevalent narrative for the building of these things is that the aliens came and inspired them. Like
Mm-hmm.
they acted as teachers to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe
Oh, they
the
didn't like.
yeah the
Physically
most
build it.
yeah the most common one with common like interactions in the human genome, and they came and they designed humans and stuff that goes back to kind of like Babylonian stuff and the Anunnaki and all that. The Anunnaki are supposed to be coming from beyond the stars. um
Is that related to the giants as well? There's a whole. I mean, this is like a rabbit
Yeah.
hole.
it's a whole yeah it's a thing, but like I suppose the point for this is that in Sumeria they have this myth about someone coming out of the ocean in a kind of
Mm-hmm.
egg-shaped craft, and they had taught them all these various things. um and then in in South America, I believe they have a similar kind of myth about this character that came down in a kind of egg-shaped craft and came out, and they also taught them how to make, these pyramids like Chichen Itza and stuff like that. And then the idea is that in Egypt as well, a similar thing would have happened. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, throughout history, people are traveling across the vast expanses of, time and space to tell human beings, hey, you can make a pile of things,
Right. Yeah. It's like of all the
A
things that
really
we're
pretty
get.
pile.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
Exactly. If
made
we.
that pile
It's,
symmetrical, then what you
yeah.
want is a
If
big
we're.
lot of things like that, and then on
Yeah.
top of them, a smaller amount of things.
Yeah. If we're gonna teach
Yeah.
humanity anything about when we come out from the ocean in our eggs, it's how to stack stuff in a specific
Yeah.
way.
Yeah,
That's what we need.
yeah.
And then everything else will figure itself out.
It's real deep, like
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, yeah, and I didn't necessarily. I've never really thought of it as like, okay, they're doing it themselves. I've always thought that the theory was that alien life or interstellar life was a form of like showing humanity how they can make these great monuments and how to show respect for certain leaders or that type of thing,
yeah.
as opposed to like physically building it themselves. But either way, people built these things.
Without a doubt,
Yeah, real actual
without,
humans.
without a doubt, actual humans do these things. And again,
Yeah.
so, because we can't really often, particularly with say Mesoamerican stuff, because they didn't leave any written. Like it's very hard for us to, like, we're just intuiting any kind of spiritual belief. We're projecting into that space as well. I actually heard a really interesting podcast with this professor that was like looking into the Mesoamerican ball game. You know about
Mm-hmm.
this? Like
Mm-mm.
it's like it's this type of like, check this out. It's like basketball, but the hoop is at about the same height as the basketball, right? But
Uh-huh.
it's turned on its side, right?
Oh, I've seen a court when I was in Mexico.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
and it was a ritualized thing. But like the rules of the game state that you can only hit the ball with your hips. Like,
Oh.
try and imagine how that game is working. Right?
Yeah.
The ball must just hit the floor, and
Yeah,
like the game is dead. So
that's
there's
it.
rules we don't understand. And I think that part of her point was that this was a major ritualized thing. We don't understand what it is. Other than the drawings and the descriptions from like conquistadors or from like folk memory or whatever. Like, but no one really knows what the game was. But at the end of the game, it seems that the losing team was sacrificed and all this kind of thing. And she was saying like that the reason there was no real resistance to the conquistadors and stuff like that was that warfare was formalized. Like
Hmm.
you didn't really go out there and like hit someone with a stick. It'd be more like, okay, we all line up, we do this formal thing,
Mm.
and then whoever loses, then that's the end of that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like trial by combat almost thing. But maybe I'm digressing. But I mean, that's I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Like we with all these monuments, it's hard for us to judge what the specific like. There must have been a ritual thing. There's definitely a power thing. Other people visiting from other cultures will look at it and go, these guys have enough spare labor to pile things up in a
Yeah.
trial image. Like this is
Yeah.
very impressive.
It's definitely one of the things that like archaeologists talk about a lot is how these are really ancient cultures that did not have a written language or have a language that we cannot interpret
Hmm.
into our own. How that piece of history is just going to be a mystery to
Hmm.
us, and like, did not mean to rhyme there. And then we can only do our best to interpret it, but sometimes that can just like kind of go wild with all the things that our imaginations can come up with.
Mm.
Yeah, or our preconceived notions or our
Absolutely.
biases, all of
Yeah.
those things can influence how we interpret these things and determine what they
Yes.
Yeah.
actually mean. Yeah.
I would just give a warning to anybody who is really putting a lot of faith into theories like that, is just to take a step back and maybe read some of the things that scientists and researchers have actually come out with about these places and these things, because it's so easy. They make it very easy to lean into these wild and interesting
Hmm.
ideas, that meme of the guy with the red tape connecting the dots kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes dark things lie behind people who come up with things like that.
Right.
And in this particular case, we're talking about white supremacy,
Hmm.
as, oh, those people were not able to do it themselves. So obviously,
Something else.
another thing came from
Yeah.
outer space to do it for them.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
most of the time it's harmless,
I mean, I
Yeah.
would,
but
being
sometimes.
Irish, I would always describe that as colonialism. Like it's a colonial mindset, like
Right.
these people so long ago and from such a, you know, far flung destination couldn't possibly have built these things, but
Yeah.
they could. They built these civilizations and they built impressive networks, and then they crumble and stuff. And I guess to just to look into deep history and see the cultures that have risen and fallen
Hmm.
is the you know it's the antithesis of the colonial mind. Like you're building a thing that will last forever. Like our society will surely never fail. That,
Right.
and of course infantilizing the natives or whatever you would be doing, like,
Yeah, and their abilities to do
and their
these things
abilities to
themselves.
do
Yeah.
these things and,
Yeah.
and build complex spiritual realities for themselves,
Hmm.
to construct these things. I, wa- I wonder if you've tried to to pick your way through the image, like physically, because there's that physical path we were talking about that
Hmm.
goes from the bottom left over up along the path to the right and then to the pyramids, and then after that the the progress gets hairy because like
Yeah.
because you have the aliens there, but you also have like rows of like Boolean code or
Yeah.
binary code. Yeah, you've
Hmm.
rows of that. And like, is it? So that's the leap. That's the technological leap for us. But that's the physical way that you would travel. You can
Right.
also travel through the 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 psychedelic dimension. You know, you can
Mm-hmm.
follow the white rabbit. Do you know like one? Oh my god, I'm warming to this theme here now because earlier on because the white rabbit, of course, you follow the rabbit down the rabbit hole, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, but then one pill makes you larger and one pill makes you small, and the pills
Mm-hmm.
your mother gives you, they'll do nothing at all. You know, like it's there's and you know like there's so that's an acid tab, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's the red and blue pill from the Matrix,
Yeah.
but then also associated with hardline political realities,
Mm-hmm.
giving you a different view on things.
Mm.
So like
Yeah.
that's almost like you're following this white rabbit across this because only half of that is space. The rest of it is
Right.
empty space or something.
Well, if I follow the white rabbit, there's a hole. That's where the
Yeah,
water is going through, right? In
yeah,
front of that are the two doves and this like ball, which might be Earth, it might be some
what is that?
dream or something with the psychedelics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you fall through the rabbit hole, you're going to space. Space is
Yeah.
behind it. There's a UFO
yeah,
there as well, and a
Yeah.
yeah,
plane, I think.
Yeah, there is a
Plane.
plane. Yeah.
It's not that big on our screen,
Yeah.
so not too sure. But like when you fall through, maybe you just go straight to space. Maybe
yeah,
you skip the horror of both the physical and the technological reality, and you just
Yeah, or like those earthly concepts or like,
right,
concepts that humanity has created. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I think a lot of it is less about landing on a specific idea or trying to say this is what happened, and it's kind of speaking more towards the journey and
mm,
yeah,
how and our push to find answers and the different ways we try to look for reality or try to confirm reality. And so
yeah.
it's kind of depicting all the different forms and ways we've tried to create structure around not knowing.
right.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think you're onto something there. It really does feel like that. Yeah, even like, yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, I mean do you know in a way that's kind of like how I kind of view the whole UFO thing as well. Is it's just people searching for meaning. You know, it's
Hmm.
and that gives them a pathway to meaning. You know,
Yeah.
Don't even
and
get me
it's
started on cryptids.
Yeah. I'm
yeah,
surprised there really isn't any of that imagery in here. I was looking for that because I'm like, that is part of this conversation too, but you really don't see anything. Like, I didn't
Yeah,
see.
genuinely haunted pants would be somewhere behind the
Yeah.
rabbit.
there's such an awful amount of UFO stuff in there though. When you start looking, you see it. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, there's quite a bit of it. There's a number of like UFOs kind of towards the middle, and then those more specific ones at the top. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's a
really
fabulous image. It
yeah,
really
it's really
is.
interesting, and that's what drew me to it initially. Is I took a look at it and was like, not for me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think I would want to diamond paint that, which I don't know if I necessarily still do, even though I'm doing this whole event. But I find it a fascinating image. The more I looked at it, I was like, wait, what is that?
Yeah.
Oh, there's that too. Oh, was
And
that
while
supposed to
you're
mean
doing
that?
it, you'll
Yeah.
be uncovering those sections, and it'll be
Yeah.
really fun to do.
Yeah.
The detail is really good. It's really detailed. Like how did the diamond painting come out? Like
So
does it?
I'm a little more than halfway done and it looks really good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very big to get all the detail.
Oh, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 What size is it?
That is a good question. Hold on,
It's
just one
here.
sec.
It's
Oh, you
behind
have it.
one
Okay.
second. It's right behind this.
It's hanging up
Uh
next to me, but I can't quite read it.
70 by 99. That's a
All right.
big
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah. So it's looking really good. They did a fantastic job trying to like capture all of that detail.
Hmm.
But some of the things like the little plane and some of those smaller UFOs are a little hard to decipher, but they did a really good job.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, it'd
Those
have to be huge for them to get
yeah.
all
The
that.
shadows of the humans down at the bottom are really cool looking.
Nice.
Have
Yeah.
you any inkling of the two doves around the planet? They're
Now
just in the center.
Yeah, I did a cursory search of just like doves around a planet or doves around a sphere. I didn't find anything like unifying from like a Google search of this is exactly what it means.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
a lot of that imagery stands for like themes of world peace.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah,
Because that particular image kind of looks almost like they're hinting at the flat Earth. You know, it's the
mm,
only place on the board where the water is running off a square
yeah,
into nothing,
uh-huh,
and then you know you've got the plane there, and that seems to be a void on the right hand side of the red dripping down from the book because
yeah,
it's almost like a kind of a dark teal on one side, and the on the other side it looks like water pouring over the edge of something with that
yeah,
plane. And I wonder if that's a reference to Admiral Byrd and the Hollow Earth. You know,
maybe.
Could be because you can see that where the
because there's
black
so many
squares.
UFOs coming
Mhm.
out of it, and
Yeah.
that's part of his story about the Hollow Earth and going inside the hole in the crust in
Every
Antarctica.
every black square is actually
Avoid.
transparent.
Yeah,
It's a
Yeah,
void.
yeah,
I
that's
only just noticed that
yeah.
all of them.
because
Ding.
that's what brought me to the. I wonder if it's like, oh, you can safely walk on physical Earth, but if you want to, and develop yourself physically or whatever, like, but if you want to develop yourself, emotionally and spiritually, you need to take the chessboard, and
Yeah.
half of that space is not space, you
Yeah,
can
Rift.
fall through those
Yeah.
holes, and
fall into
you know,
something. Yeah,
yeah, you're in imminent danger. Um,
yeah.
because even the jellyfishes are coming out,
Hmm.
and
hmm
I really do feel like that might actually be an Admiral Byrd reference there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that a little bit more. Yeah, a lot of this stuff I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting," but I have no like it's hard to even parse like what it's supposed to mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so cool because you could literally look at that for hours and
They've
still
Yeah.
not know what you think about.
they
Yeah.
have squashed so much information in there. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And it's not necessarily cohesive as far as like telling a very, congruent story, but it still comes together in a way that looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I wonder why, like, so the chimpanzee is reading the book, but then the android character has the knowledge, so they can look you in the
They
eye.
can look up from them.
Yeah, they can look you in the eye or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. And then there's that kind of like lightning bolt or electricity like emanating from the eye as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It has the power.
It has the power.
Yeah.
You go full on the Terminator.
That's what. What is the white rabbit holding?
It looks like a nautilus.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And there's almost kind of like it's almost looks kind of like a galaxy, like there's either water or some kind of like star pattern within the Nautilus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are those? Yeah, like
Make it bigger?
because it,
Oh,
it's a
it's a
spiral
clock.
clock.
It's a clock?
Yeah.
Oh.
We just
Okay.
zoomed in.
We zoomed-
Nice.
Just learned how to zoom in.
I didn't even realize we could have been zoomed in.
Missed opportunity.
Oh, I
Yeah,
had
it's
no
like
my
it's
God.
it's a clock, but the numbers keep going in a spiral into the middle.
okay,
So the
okay.
numbers just keep going and going and going into the
Interesting.
center.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's definitely the edge of the flat Earth, isn't it?
This part.
Yeah.
Next to one of the chess squares.
Yeah, the one we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, next to the doves and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I love the jellyfish coming out of space, though.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Like
And then
there's something-
just below that, there's like some DNA strands that are kind of connected to the shadows. Down.
Oh,
Oh, they're in the water.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
really,
really
neat.
neat.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Come in on the
Where?
the astronaut guy there with the red flag. Oh, I see him.
It kind of looks like
I'm
that movie with Matt Damon or whatever.
I
That
100%.
might be-
Oh,
It's
is
The
it what was it?
the one where
the
he's
Martian. The Martian.
the Martian,
The
where he
Martian.
settles and makes grows
Mm-hmm.
potatoes.
Is it? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. But
Yeah.
I just think it's very interesting that he's holding the red flag
What's that
before the
all
staircase.
about? What's the
Yeah, because if it was like a U.S. flag, then I could be like, okay, that's the conspiracy theory that the moon landing was staged or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But
Maybe he
because the
just
flag
didn't
is
wanna be
red,
targeted.
It
Yeah.
would make. I mean, like, because in the story of the moon landing being staged, it's what's his name? Stanley Kubrick, that does it, right?
hmm
And he was supposed to have staged it so that NASA would give him these extra wide lenses with like extra big apertures or something, so that he could shoot Barry Lyndon without artificial light, which he succeeded in doing and borrowed the lenses from NASA and all that. And then that's supposed to be the narrative, like, but why a red flag?
yeah,
Because like a blocked because I am certain with the markings on that is the spacesuit from 2001, you know?
okay,
Okay.
Which
yeah,
I mean, you can look that up or whatever. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but because that's got a very because you know the way it ends so mysteriously, like, and what's going on, or are we or is this a brave new child being pushed to the future, or are we being seeded by the aliens, or what's going on here, you know?
hmm which would make sense with some of the other theming here too.
It would, yeah, it would, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
What?
yeah. Kinda. But they're mostly orange, right?
We're
Yeah.
we're baking live, everybody.
There's been no shake and bake here today.
yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of,
yeah,
they're more orangey, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
still.
okay.
but still,
It was specifically the red stripe that comes down the middle of the helmet that kind of was like, I've seen that somewhere before.
yeah, yeah, it's
But
so
the red,
cool.
I mean, like, wouldn't you? I mean, the red flag, but it's hard.
Wouldn't an American flag just like set off alarm bells or something?
Uh,
Would that might change the picture?
yeah, but like the only thing I can think of with a red flag would be like the cause
Yeah.
of international communism. You know what I mean?
Well, that's probably why they don't.
Maybe they weren't so specific. Yeah, I wonder if there is some towing of the line there, a little bit, just to make sure that it isn't controversial. But I don't know if Christopher Lavelle as an artist would be necessarily worried about that. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of.
What is Christopher Lavelle's other
I will show
work
you.
like?
We will go through Diamond Art Club's website.
It's very different.
But what does he usually kind of do? Oh, goodness.
Booty.
That is some fine booty. Okay, so I can see, yeah, so kind of like punk gothic kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see a lot of this working on music stuff. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a like from a death metal band that also has really quiet bits
The
with
one
piano.
the one called Apple. Yeah.
Yes,
I see a lot
the
of this
apples.
is from a death metal band that has quiet bits with piano.
Yeah, like this one as well.
Someone stops shouting and starts going.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite ones is Medusa. That I think he did a really good job on this one.
pretty cool.
Wait, is
Apples always gives me like Evanescence vibes.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
So that's kind of the usual style,
Wow.
So I wouldn't say that they're like necessarily averse to maybe an adult kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But like it's definitely a lot different than the rest of this, wouldn't you say? Like
Oh, I would, yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it kind of I could see almost any of those as an album cover though as
Absolutely,
well.
yeah.
Like there's a
Yeah.
real album cover feel off them, yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I got interested in him as an artist when they released, is it Medusa?
Yeah.
That one was really cool. And then
So
this
good.
one kind of threw me for a loop. And like I said, when I first saw it, I wasn't particularly interested in it necessarily. And then
Yeah.
I took a really close look, or a closer look, and I was like, there's so much in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's something you can just stare at.
Right.
Yeah, it really is.
Clearly.
Yeah. It's a really arresting image.
Where do you want me to zoom in?
Can I have a look at the mushrooms just out of curiosity?
Down here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really
Oh,
cool.
okay. Okay. I mean,
So
they're
yeah.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
There's
Um,
something going on over here. There's like red behind
be-
this the temple, a South American temple.
Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
tell if that's meant to be burning or a fire. I'm not sure.
Not sure either.
or maybe like a sunset or something. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you zoom in on the bit, I didn't. When do you remember the bit we thought that might be Petra or whatever, or Petra?
Over
Mm-hmm.
here.
Yeah, but it just looks like it's it's skyscrapers after the fall of civilization or something.
Mm.
But
Oh,
but the angle,
down below,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
but the angle is the same as the angle of the buildings at Petra that are cut into the rock face. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's, I mean, he's definitely trying, or I feel he's trying to
Create a
draw
parallel.
those parallels. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like I said, I'm about 40% done, so I'm just to like the ape or chimpanzee's like face, like halfway through the face.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's really, really cool to work on. It's very detailed, so it's been taking a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah.
And so
Um,
the end of the series that you're doing, it'll just be through September.
yeah,
And
so
you're
the
hoping to like have it done.
yeah, so I'm hoping to have it done by the end of September. I'll be doing four episodes of this in this series. The first one's just talking about the artwork in general and a little bit of history on Christopher Lavelle and the Neptune Project.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be doing this one, and then I'll be doing one about psychedelics and how people believe they impact their perception of reality or how they use it as a door or a window into another plane of thinking, and maybe some of my own personal experience. And then the last one will just be like a finish and review, essentially.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So exciting.
Well, cool. Any other last thoughts, musings on this image or UFOs in general?
Season 3. I'm trying to get us to do Theory Tuesday again.
Yeah, but
I think that we've kind of gone through all the UFO that we can.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a suggestion that isn't a cryptid.
Okay.
No, but like in general, I think that the image, it just, the longer you look at it, the more it kind of evokes a bit of emotion, especially for like someone of my age. Like seeing so many things that the way that we've done things for so long, and then seeing how quickly technology can take over. I don't want to say replace, but like in a way, a lot of the hard labor can be taken away. And for me, that's the sunny side of it. That's the way that I'm trying to think of it going forward, because then, the other side feels a bit destructive to humanity. So as long as we don't lose it,
Yeah.
it could be a positive image.
Right.
yeah,
This
it's
could be the future, but in a good way.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel like it is that image about the journey of man. As a person as an individual, but like society as a whole or cultures or something. Like because you start on the solid ground at the bottom, and you do have to travel past the spaceman with the red flag, and on to build the pyramids, or maybe you're going to travel across the board or whatever. And it all seems to peter out after the midpoint. Like beyond that, it's almost like you're not living in a physical realm where you're fighting for survival or following rabbits to see where they'll lead you or whatever. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you're in a
Infinity.
yeah, you're in you know a timeless jungle looking at a stone monument and a thing, or you're at the pillars of creation or something. You know, it's
Yeah.
that journey. I think I like the people. I don't know if you have any feelings about the people at the bottom or something, but they kind of remind me of do you know that painting like with by Caspar David Friedrich where the guy's at the top of the mountain like do you know it's like this like 19th century romantic German romantic painting. It's
Mm-hmm.
just this guy standing at the top of the mountain. He's like that.
Oh yeah, yes, yes.
Yeah, it and he's looking at the other mountain. It almost feels like that, but at the bottom. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
the stands of the people are the same, but they're the people that are starting on this journey. You
Mm.
know,
Right,
um,
right.
heavy, heavy doses of hallucinogenics as well. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like that. You know, you have the physical journey running left to right up along the stairs, and you have the emotional spiritual journey running across the chessboard. You know, filled with
Mm-hmm.
peril and danger, and you know our
Yeah.
ancestors and our you know the people of the future, like the robots that will inherit the earth or something. I don't know.
I'll
Yeah.
just do my dishes.
Yeah,
That's
it's such a busy image compared to his other work. The
yeah.
guy you showed me, yeah, his other work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. I really like it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you both again so much for willing to jump down this this path with me a little
That was fun.
explore. And there's so many
Yeah,
things
it was
that you
fun. Yeah.
guys called out that I saw but didn't really didn't really pay too much mind to. So it's really cool. I think every
Yeah.
time you look at it, you might see some more and some more. So yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it feels like that kind of image. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that you
Cool.
mentioned.
Well, again, I appreciate your time and thank you so much for being here. I
Yeah,
appreciate it. And I
thank
do
you.
hope that we see some more Theory Tuesday in the near
Ah,
future.
thanks.
It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to watch. So,
Cool.
Thank you for
yeah.
inviting us to be on your channel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
of
you so much.
course.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
really great talking
Yeah.
to you. Yeah,
Awesome. Thanks.
Mhm.
Okay.
thank you.
Well, we'll see ya. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, this one. See
Bye.
you.
Bye. Thank you so much again for watching this week's installment of the A Question of Reality paint-along. It was so much fun getting to chat with Rachel and Mr. Rae about this artwork, and it was just a real blast to get a chance to chat with them. In next week's installment, I'll be talking about or telling you a story of a personal experience as it relates to one of the themes in the artwork A Question of Reality by Christopher Lavelle. Additionally, I want to shout out my brother. His DJ artist name is Violet Sunset, and I will include his Instagram and SoundCloud information in the description of this video. He did the mix or did the music that you've been listening to during this intro and outro. Thanks again so much for watching, and happy placing. Bye.
reality.